Antlers, assumptions, and artillery. So what does that mean? Holly asks as she sees Bjorn return from his debriefing in another part of the ship. He has a badge on him showing a strange, tusked quadruped with wings followed by words in a language she doesn't know. It's the insignia of our branch. We're going for a theme with such things. If the name isn't extremely practical like the Earth Foreign Legion, then it's going to be symbolic like the Chainbreaker, or in this case, the Flying Hogs Recruitment and Training Battalion. I don't understand. There's a saying on Earth. When pigs fly, it generally means that something is impossible or never going to happen. But our symbol is a pig flying, meaning we make the impossible possible, Holly scoffs. Yeah, cool and all. But you just said you're the flying hogs, not the flying pigs. Hog is another word for pig. It sounds more dignified to human ears, Bjorn remarks, and she scoffs. He ignores the girl's attitude as he sits down across from her. So what's the cover? Would you like to be a fitness instructor? You and the other victims of the Umbral organization are all in incredibly good shape and know how to push and push and push, meaning you'll be able to help us get our recruits into shape, as well as shut them up about some things only being possible with Axiom. Fitness? I mean, I've still been working out. It's strangely soothing. The other girls have reported the same. All of them are still, well, workout addicts. This means you're all in great positions with a bit of training to make fitness instructors or even drill sergeants. Drill sergeants? A drill sergeant teaches the absolute basics to fresh recruits. It involves being scary, noisy, and also funny. You need to get everyone moving together as a single cohesive movement and teach people just how hard they can push themselves. Would I have to hurt people? Actually, no. A drill sergeant is allowed to yell, scream, insult, and assign punishments, but they cannot strike the recruits. I was indeed a dumb recruit once. Drill sergeant scared the crap out of me and got me moving. Pushed and pushed until I thought I had nothing left to give, and then made me get up and give even more. I'm not sure I understand. Do you know what the greatest strength of a soldier is? The weapons? Oh no, those are just party favors. A soldier's greatest strength is their will, the will to push and push, to push beyond and do more, even when you thought you couldn't. To reach the end of your limits and rise again anyways. A soldier's not done until he's either relieved of duty or dead. Sometimes not even then. And what, a drill instructor puts it there? No, they draw it out. A soldier can be completely out of shape, down a limb and tired. But if they've still got their will and remember their training, then they can do things few others can, Bjorn says, and Holly scoffs. Don't believe me? No. Fine, I can't force you. Nor can I do anything else than offer the sales pitch, Bjorn remarks. It had been a long shot anyways. But hey, you never swing, you never hit, to use a baseball analogy. So, do you know where we're going? There are going to be a single main recruiting and training center in the Vrenraku Arcology, with flyers and advertisements being sent to many of the others. We've managed to rent out a part of the Arcology with access to the outside, plenty of manufacturing room and bunk space for both equipping and housing our recruits. Why is access to the outside important? Room to run, shoot, and do drill formations so that the recruits can get used to acting as a group. We're going to train them up to Army standard rather than Dauntless standard. What's the difference? Pardon? Between Army standard and Dauntless standard. It takes 4 times as long and nearly 20 times the resources to fully train someone to Dauntless standard. That's the level I'm at. If I'm dropped naked and alone in the middle of enemy territory with a mission to decapitate their command structure, literally, then I still have middling to fair odds of accomplishing it. Clothing and a basic sidearm and knife makes things much, much easier. I don't understand. Dauntless standard takes 2 years to train as opposed to 6 months in the Army. Long story short, the extra time is not only not wasted, but it's so jammed-packed with more training that you could drop out at 3 months and have the equivalent of full Army training. Didn't you say something about a 95% failure ratio? It's not easy, no. 19 people failed and I succeeded, Bjorn remarks before chuckling. It's probably for the best that our level of training is what's going to considered the elite training. Forcing it on everyone that signs up is a good way to get everyone running for their lives. Right. And where will we be? When can we get off this ship? I don't like being penned in like this, Holly protests, and Bjorn checks the time on his communicator. 3 hours and we touch down. They don't tell you where the gangs are or if there's a slum. Likewise, maps miss a lot of things as well. Is there a tundra worm breeding ground somewhere around the arcology? Are there animal runs? Caves? At least you have time for me, Holly mutters lowly, but Bjorn catches it. Things didn't go so well with your dad? Bjorn asks, and the way Holly flinches tells him that he got it in one. Want to talk about it? No. All right, I'm always around if you need me, though. But seriously, talk your way through your problems. Letting them fester is just poison for the mind and soul. Is that experience talking? It is. I carried a lot of shit with me when I left public education, and it boiled over badly in training. I took things too far and was given the option of getting the hell out or seeing the psychiatrist. So I saw the doctor, and they worked me through my issues. So did no one actually pass? Holly demands, and Bjorn shoots her a confused look. 95% is considered as near to perfect as can be expected in a lot of academia. That was the cutoff ratio. In training to crew the Dauntless, you could do everything right. You could give everything you had, and even then you could still fail. It was insane. Half the time it seemed like the people dropping out were just being disqualified at random. It's not something you put someone through unless they're willing to give their all, or unless you want them broken. Oh, please. Look, you can tell me stories all you want, but... Holly's cut off when Bjorn tosses his communicator at her. She fumbles it and then sees he's brought up an image. It sort of looks like him, if he'd suddenly dropped half his body mass and had a prominent gut. The boy in the picture seems timid and uncertain, wide-eyed and even frightened. The sheer difference in presence, not to mention stature, is so stark that she has to compare the two and makes note of the tiny scar on Bjorn's left eyebrow that is in both the picture and reality. She goes quiet before tossing back the phone to Bjorn and staring at him oddly. Even though he has little idea what her currently churning axiom presence means, he can read her posture and face easily enough. Respectfully, he lets the silence sit. She'll talk when she's ready. It takes nearly an hour for her to find her voice. My father did almost the exact same thing, she whispers. He brought out a picture of me before I was taken and asked what had happened. I doubt that went over well. It didn't. It really didn't. He doesn't mean to hurt me, but seeing who I used to be, that cute little girl with everything ahead of her and no clue how bad things can get, it hurt. It hurt so much. Were you able to explain that to him? Bjorn asks softly. I needed help from Mom. My other mothers also helped. She's pushed so hard to bring me back in, to be part of the family again. She's worked so hard to help me feel like a proper clatterhooves and not an oversized and over-muscled stranger wearing the face of her daughter. She's a hell of a woman. You're lucky to have her, Bjorn remarks, and Holly nods. Will she run out of time for me, though? Bjorn's question isn't asked, but clearly there. She's pregnant. I'm going to be a big sister. I mean, I've had younger siblings, but only from my other mothers. This is the first time I've had a full-blood sibling, and I'm worried that Mom won't be able to help me anymore. I'm afraid that's not something I can help with. Family affairs are just that, but I will be here for you as long as you need it. I might not have any authority over your parents, but I can at least listen if you have problems. Oh, if it's any comfort, I doubt your mom will suddenly forget about you or refuse to help. Sure, the baby will need a lot of attention, but it won't be taking all of it. But I've always been her youngest. What will it mean to not have that kind of help anymore? Well, I suppose the only thing to do is teach you so that you won't need it. Everyone leaves home eventually, so why not you? I missed so much, though, I don't think I can ever catch up. To who? What? Oh, sorry, to whom? Bjorn says, using a slightly more formal lilt in his tone to get the point across. I don't understand. Who are you trying to catch up to? What standard are you trying to meet? What great magical marker on the road of life are you trying to reach? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to catch up to? Is there someone you want to do better than? Is there some goal you have to accomplish by this point in your life? Accomplished doctor, married, and with a child? That sort of thing? Bjorn asks, and Holly blinks. But what about other people? What about them? What would other people think? Well, I don't care. Your mother just wants you safe, and who else is there? Is there someone you're trying to impress? Well, no. Then why would you give even the slightest crap about what a bunch of total strangers think about you? Live your life for you and not anyone else, Bjorn says, and Holly's just staring at him. He just shrugs. If they've got no power over your life and aren't a part of it, then what does it matter what they think? You could dye the rudest words imaginable into your fur, and unless you start committing crimes, then they can't really do a damn thing about it. You can spend your days doing nothing but laying around, playing games, and eating the most unhealthy food imaginable. Unless you hurt someone, then they've got nothing they can do to stop you and no room to complain. Your life is yours. You haven't sworn it to anyone, you haven't made any oaths. Live the way you want to. And if I want to do better? If I want to be better than the people around me? Not only stupid strong, but well-educated, married to a hunk and with a well-paying job? Holly asks, and Bjorn grins. Then we've got some work to do, but I'm still beside you. So what are you thinking in the way of a career? Well, I was just kind of... Her body language and her axiom presence are synced in a way he has no idea how to decipher. You need time to think. Reality is spinning on a dime around you. I understand. Know it! Never mind, Holly says, and he gives her a confused look. You're willing to help me with all that? Sure, he says, and she blinks a bit in shock at his quick answer before smiling. Antlers, assumption, and artillery. Well, it's certainly crisp, Bjorn notes as he feels the wind move over him. He wonders if he should have brought out a scarf or a hat. You're complaining about the cold? Holly teases him, and he shrugs. Just commenting, Bjorn notes as he looks out into the distance. They're still on the concrete that surrounds the arcology, and therefore well and truly safe from the tundra worms. Bjorn is wrapped up in his uniform jacket and has his hands in his pockets to ward off the cold as best as he can. Holly, on the other hand, is dressed casually with a t-shirt and loose, comfortable pants. Bjorn is mentally congratulating himself for calling it. Her fur is insulating her perfectly for this kind of weather. Well, come on then, let's have ourselves a nice look around, Bjorn says with a tilt of his head, and she sighs and follows. Hey, you're the one that wanted outside. Well, yeah, but never mind, let's go, Holly says, and he chuckles. Right, well, the thing we need to look out for is when the ground shifts under you. Unlike Arrakis, the worms here are slow and patient. They come up slowly from below, then move quick. If you feel the tundra and snow move under you, then step to the side until you're on something solid again. Okay, what is Arrakis? I've never heard of such a thing or such a place. A world in a science fiction novel. A very important one in that setting, where it's a giant desert that has huge monster worms living on it. The story's quite popular, but very hard to fully get into. There's just so much going on in it that people who have tried and failed to try and copy what made it great. Oh, and what made it great? Holly asks, and he shrugs. Hell, I don't know. The book is complicated as all hell and just not my genre, Bjorn remarks. And what is your genre? Holly asks. True crime, actually. It's fascinating stuff, Bjorn remarks as he looks out over the horizon. A few kilometers away is another arcology, one with a distinctly different construction style. Unlike Vrenraku's pyramid style that's angled to catch a lot of light and angle it into the arcology for a natural sensation. At least that's what Bjorn is assuming. They haven't gone deep into the arcology yet, as Holly was working herself into a worry about not being out on the spires of Centris. The walk is along the edge of the concrete surrounding the arcology. A nice little stroll along the multiple kilometers-length building with the looming structures of the other arcologies in the distance. The sheer dryness of the world means there's not too much snow blowing against them. Some trees drink from underground streams, and moss catch some of the few flakes of snow that dance in the distance. Birds seek shelter in the needle and sap-covered trees, and herds of bounding creatures make haste from around their roots to avoid the tundra worms. Still, it's not a bad place. This concrete platform will make a great track to run the recruits along. A few laps to get everyone's stamina built up will be great. You do realize that most races aren't stamina monsters, right? Holly asks, and he shrugs. Just one hike, then. Something to get their blood flowing as we get them into shape. Bjorn considers. It might be too much for the reptilian races. Nagasha, Kobes, and even most Apuk would slowly shut down and stop in this cold. At least most would, if not for Axiom, I suppose. But you want to keep Axiom used to a minimum in the training, don't you? We do, but concessions have to be made. Just as how my race are stamina monsters, we're also the only ones anyone can reasonably expect to operate without Axiom. Keeping warm and keeping your energy up are fine, so long as you're pumping your muscles to get stronger. I personally see no cause to complain, Bjorn says, then chuckles. Of course, I've probably already said enough things wrong that the moment we get a drill instructor ready, they'll be screaming in my face for the sheer amount of shit I just said. Holly snickers at the mental image he just brought up. He had shared a video of the funniest drill instructor's compilation part 1 with her, and the sheer amount of screaming and pointless commands had her giggling without end. "Look up! Look down! Look left! Look right!" Holly recites from one of her favorite bits. "Look inside," Bjorn finishes, and she breaks out in giggles at the memory. The soldier that had been getting the endless orders had gone cross-eyed and fallen down at that point. "Hey, look!" Holly says as she points out one of the herd animals suddenly struggling. "Is that a tundra worm attack?" "Looks like it," Bjorn notes, looking over the distance. After a few moments of struggling, the worm bursts from the ground, and the creature screams but manages to bound away, trailing blood, as the fangs of the worm had scraped along its hide. Neat, so its whole ambushing strategy means it has to let go for a moment to get a proper bite. That's good to know. "You think it'll be okay?" Holly asks, watching the uncomfortably carob-like animal race away. If it can avoid infection or other predators while wounded, then it should make it. Tundra worms are the baddest beasts on this world, so if it can not only get away from that, but learn from it, then it might live a very long life. Bjorn remarks as he considers. "I wonder how they taste, though. They might make some good hunting." He receives a swat in the shoulder. "No! Not while I'm here. Not when the poor beastie just barely escaped a horrible death." Fine. Shall we continue?" he asks, and she nods. The walk is well-paced and comfortable, fairly uneventful, too, although they do get to see many more arcologies in the distance with every new side the walk along. "Are you not cold anymore?" Holly asks after a little while as Bjorn scans the area and considers how long it would take to run from one arcology to another. "It wouldn't take too long, but it wouldn't be quick. The walking has warmed me up. Not to mention this isn't too much colder than my homelands. With so little snow, there are only the chill and the wind to bring me cold. But my jacket blocks the wind, and I am plenty warm from the walk and my shirt," Bjorn remarks. Still, it's interesting to see the most common types of arcologies, the big bricks over there, the pyramids like Vrenraku here, and the domed arcologies are the most common. "Is that really what's on your mind?" Holly asks, and he shrugs. "I think about a lot of things, but out of controlled areas I have to keep my focus on the tactical and strategic perspective of things," Bjorn replies. "Really? So there's no room for anything else?" Holly asks, crossing her arms and pressing up her breasts. "Not outside a controlled area," Bjorn returns. "So if I was to try and bring these even more to your attention?" Holly asks. "No, Miss Clatterhooves. I'm your bodyguard. When I'm on duty, no amount of flirting will get anything out of me," he says. "What about when you're off duty?" "You're a hurt civilian, one that I'm not sure if you're older or younger than me. That brings up how appropriate this is. We have a business relationship where we have different sorts of mutual power and authority over each other. So there's all sorts of questions to how appropriate it would be to be in a relationship. And if I decide that I want to pursue one, are you going to stop me, to shut me down, or avoid me? Because I'm fairly sure I have a captive audience." Holly teases him, and he sighs. "Oh? No answer? How interesting. 4 minutes in an all-out sprint," Bjorn says. "What?" Holly asks. "How long it would take for me to reach the nearest arcology. Of course my hands would be shaking near the end of it," Bjorn says, yanking the conversion to another topic entirely. "Really?" "It would take me about 10 seconds, Holly remarks, and he turns to give her a look that clearly has doubt written up and down it. She then smiles at him and nods toward Vrenraku nearby, and he scoffs. 4 minutes to reach that? Quite slow. Oh, yay? How about, no, I'm on duty. No messing around." Bjorn cuts himself off, and Holly sighs. "Please," she begs, and he shakes his head. She then clasps her hands together, pushes up her breasts, and flutters her eyes. "Please!" "No, I'm on the job." Bjorn grunts out, but she can spot his eyes flickering. He's attracted. He's very much attracted. "And when do you come off the job, big man?" she asks, and he sighs. "When we're someplace safe." "So you want to go home?" "That is not what I said." "But it's what you meant," Holly concludes. "Come on! Race you back!" With that, she rushes hard alongside the arcology, and Bjorn gives chase, staying only a few steps behind her in a full-out sprint to keep pace with the immensely fast Holly. Thankfully, she actually runs out of endurance halfway through and clomps to a stop while huffing out great clouds of steam. "You all right?" Bjorn asks, skidding to a stop as he's panting far less and quickly getting control of himself. Yes, you humans are put together so weird. How... Are you turned on?" "What?" Holly demands, and Bjorn checks and confirms that he is in fact not popping a tent. I'm not turned on. What are you talking about? Bjorn asks, and she huffs in a deep breath through her nose and looking at Bjorn oddly. But your smell? Sweat. It's called sweat, Bjorn says. Remember? I'm always in season and the sweat makes it really stand out. But you wear deodorant to ward it off. Unless I get too warm and start producing more sweat to cool off. But it's cold. How could you be... Right. Sorry, I'm... You know? No, I'm not sorry. You humans are too sexy for your own damn good, you know that? Holly demands the now very amused Bjorn. You've got some good speed. Really good. A sprinting queen, but you can't keep it going. You heat up too fast, Bjorn remarks, and she scoffs. Oh, shut up. We can't all be bald monkeys, you know. I thought I was too sexy for my own good. You're that too! Holly huffs as she sucks in more cold air to regulate her burning body heat. She then flinches a bit as Bjorn reaches for her, then nods to allow him to feel her forehead through her fur. He lets out a low whistle in surprise. You're burning. If anything, this world is too warm for you. How did you even get by on Centris? Bjorn asks in surprise as he pulls away. He'd have to run a high fever to get anywhere near as close to that. On Centris, the axiom flowed naturally to protect me from the heat. Here, I'm not used to this temperature. It's close, but not close enough to a really comfortable temperature. When we're inside, it'll be so hot I won't even have to think about to keep properly cool. But here, close enough that my instincts aren't built up yet. Well then, let's get you to where it's warmer so you can properly cool off, as freaking weird as that is. Wait, is that why sweating is so unknown in the galaxy at large? Axiom self-cooling? Yes. It's common to the point of being almost universal. Some plants even have a version of them to extract water or keep warm. Holly explains as she completely gets her breath back and gestures towards a small copse of trees. I see. Still, let's get you inside to where things are healthier for you, Bjorn says kindly. We're not far off anyways, just a slight walk. Oh, but I'm burning! Burning, I say! Need a pair of strong arms to carry me! Holly dramatically declares, and Bjorn rolls his eyes at first before grinning. He then picks her up in a bridal carry, and Holly is completely taken aback. Wait, what? What are you doing? Calling your bluff, he says. Bluff? Bluff nothing. I wanted to be carried on your back so I could whisper things in your ear and press into you. I'm on duty, Holly. Yeah, for now. Don't make me drop you. But you're supposed to protect me, she teases, and he sighs.